Police! Roll the window down. Roll it down now. No, this isn't
Sarah stepped back toward her car. I can't stay, but you'll figure this out. You're a good detective, Marcus. Better than you think. Find the evidence. Protect Tyler. And know that I never stopped loving you. She got back in the sedan. The engine revved. Wait! Marcus scrambled to his feet. How are you here? How is any of this possible? Sarah looked at him through the open window. Does it matter? I'm here. I told you what you needed to know. The rest is up to you. The window rolled up. The sedan pulled onto the highway. Marcus stood frozen, watching taillights disappear into fog. Hey, you okay? The backup officer reached him. Young guy. New to night shift. You called for backup and then went radio silent. What happened? Marcus looked at him, looked at the empty highway, looked at his hands, still shaking. Nothing. False alarm. Thought the driver was reaching for something. Turned out to be nothing. You sure? You look like you saw a ghost. Marcus almost laughed. Almost. Yeah, something like that. The backup officer left. Marcus sat in his patrol car for 20 minutes, staring at nothing, trying to convince himself he'd hallucinated the entire thing. Stress, grief, anniversary of Sarah's death approaching, his mind playing tricks, but he couldn't shake her voice, her face, the specific detail about the scar only they knew about, and he couldn't shake what she'd said about Derek. Derek Walsh, partner, friend, family, murderer. Marcus made a decision. He would investigate, quietly, carefully. If Sarah was wrong, if his grief had conjured an impossible conversation, then he'd find nothing, and he'd know he needed help. Professional help. But if she was right, he couldn't finish that thought. Not yet. Marcus drove home. Tyler was asleep. The house was dark and quiet. He stood in the hallway outside his son's room, listening to the sound of breathing, thinking about trust and betrayal, and how someone you love could destroy your entire world without you ever seeing it coming. The next morning, Marcus started digging. He began with Sarah's old cases, files that had been closed for 10 years. He requested copies through official channels, playing it off as review work, making sure no one questioned why he was suddenly interested in decade-old investigations. 3 of Sarah's last cases had resulted in dropped charges. All 3 involved people with serious criminal histories. All 3 had Derek Walsh listed as secondary investigator. Marcus went deeper. Financial records, bank statements. He used every resource available to him without raising red flags. Derek had purchased a new house 2 years after Sarah's death. Paid cash, explained it as inheritance from a dead uncle. But Marcus couldn't find any record of an uncle dying. Couldn't find probate records, couldn't find estate transfers. The money came from somewhere, just not anywhere legitimate. Marcus spent weeks building a timeline. Late nights in his home office while Tyler studied upstairs, spreadsheets, documents, connections that slowly, methodically began to form a picture he didn't want to see. Derek had been stealing for years, taking payoffs, burying evidence, working for people who paid well for problems to disappear, and Sarah had found out. The evidence was circumstantial, nothing that would hold up in court alone. But together, piece by piece, it told a story. 3 months into his investigation, Marcus found the medical records. Not Sarah's official hospital files, her actual blood work. Tests that had been ordered but never followed up on. Results that showed elevated levels of substances that shouldn't have been there. Anomalies that multiple doctors had noted but attributed to cancer treatment. Except the dates were wrong. The substances appeared before treatment started. Someone had been poisoning her before she was ever diagnosed, creating symptoms that looked like aggressive cancer, guiding doctors toward a conclusion that explained everything without requiring anyone to look too closely.